With every update of this dashboard right here, it is always a bigger mystery to me as to why things get changed. So yes, it is live. I set it for 4 o'clock because I knew I wasn't going to be here at 3 o'clock. And I have no idea why it set it to 3 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time because that's the time zone we are in. Anyways, that's that. That's why. Sorry for people that seen a post that said it was at 3 when actually it was at 4. I blame YouTube, but ultimately I can point at technology as you want. This guy is the one pressing buttons, so at some level I have some blame because, yeah, I don't know. That's how things work occasionally. So welcome to the live stream. I have a phone next to me, and that's because I didn't have a plan today. I have been a little bit busier than normal getting a few things done. That's actually one of the reasons, if you've ever wondered why Tom does kind of some lightweight videos here and there, other than I did take the time to do the UniFi door thing because so many people asked me about it, which is actually kind of the reason I did it. I don't know. I'll cover that in a second, but I've been really busy. That's why I do some of those other videos are like basic marketing videos or me talking about my business. A lot of that's related to the other tutorial videos are the most time consuming to produce. Me pressing record, ripping something in one cut and just uploading it. And, I throw those out there and people seem to like them, but I know they don't get as many views, and sometimes usually the business videos, I know there's not as much. There's a small amount of people that seem to make me perceive a higher demand than there is, because when I do post business videos, they never get the views that other videos get. So I know that there's people that thank me for them, so I will keep producing them. They seem to have added value to the watchers of them, but I am also very aware that they are not by far the most popular videos on my channel. So yeah, telling time is hard. We'll go with that. Telling time is hard, and occasionally pronouncing words in English is hard, which is also what people give me a hard time about. So this is one more thing people give me a hard time about. And don't worry, I never have a problem with it. I've always loved the concept of hug your haters. I can say thank you to people who insult me, and I'm really not bothered by it. I've just not cared. It's not really, it's not something that bothers me when people post that. Because there's a lot of crazy comments that I get. Some comments I delete. Some people post some really weird stuff that is unrelated in any way to the video. And I do spend a lot more, well, I spend not a lot more. I've always spent a lot of time on the comments. But the one thing, hey, thank you for those of you that do like the business videos. So I see a couple people mention that they do like them. I enjoy producing them. They're a little bit different, and it's like I said, I just am one of those people that is always trying to be honest, and that's what makes it harder to make some of the videos about business, because I see too many videos that annoy me about business where they tell you like it is, this is the way you do it to get this expected result. I can expect that from a tech tutorial. That is a very challenging thing from a non-tech tutorial when I talk about business. So they're more about me riffing off things than anything else. But I've been wanting to produce a few more of them. I had an interesting suggestion that a couple people asked me about, is because I've been riding my motorcycle, and I thought it was kind of funny in a discussion, and a couple people tagged me on Twitter, is, hey, Tom, while you're out on your motorcycle, why don't you talk about business, and then we can just watch the scenery go by on the motorcycle? And I'm like, well, I guess that's moto vlogging, because I don't understand. I like to see scenery. I can watch some motovlog people on mute, and I can't name any of them. I have 0 that I follow, but I like what I see, nice scenery and things like that. So if you'd like to see some of the Michigan landscape, maybe I'll post a couple over on my personal channel. So I'm horribly good at business. I am not good at business, but that, I mean, I'm good enough to stay in business. I'm good enough to make money at it. I don't know where I would draw the line to say whether or not you're good at business. That's such a difficult thing to say. Yeah. Related to UniFi, though, and I wanted to bring this up because someone tagged me in Twitter, and this is not the first time this has happened. People who get angry because I reviewed a product, and especially the Dream Machine Pro being one of those products recently, they seem to be angry at me for them buying the product. Now, I have done a video on it where I say this is a demo. We have not used these in production. I did a follow-up on the USG and UDM saying why we don't use them in production and all the shortcomings with them. And that still does not seem to make people understand that I'm not endorsing the product heavily. I reviewed it, I discussed it, I gave my thoughts on it because so many people had asked me about it because we use other products of Ubiquity's platform. So that's not a recommendation. That's not a you should really buy this. Matter of fact, anytime people have asked in the forums, I have steered them away from it. Matter of fact, that's why I made that video. That video pretty blatantly says, if you need advanced features, this is not for you. This is also a response to the number of people that contact us in the contact forum. A big number of them contact us because they want their Unified Dream Machine, they want their USG to do something that the Unified Dream Machine Pro, USG Pro, any of the Unify platform routing equipment, they want it to do something it doesn't do. That is just a common reason people fill out the contact form. So that's why I make some of those videos. So I've tried to be as forthcoming on all that as possible. I have Vlog 194. I have watched every single one of these. I remember when you introduced this series. Yeah, it's been a number of years now that I've been doing this. I don't think we did them live prior. I think we recorded them, and I don't remember how many I've done live. It's a mix. They weren't live from the beginning, but it's been a while since I've been doing it. I mean, we decided it's one of those, one day I make a decision. People think so much more goes into decisions than they do. Tom, why did you make the decision to do this? I don't know. Marvin, back as he's the one that suggested it, was like, hey, we should still live on Thursdays. And I said, Thursday seems like a good day to go live. And now I go live on Thursdays. That's the entire conversation and thought process that went into it. This is actually a challenge a lot of people have when you talk about business. And maybe I should do a video about this, but I'll riff on it right here. Analysis paralysis is a huge problem in business, and technical people suffer deeply from this. They start looking at all the options, and they never end up going forward. I know a guy that was looking at GFI back before SolarWinds bought the RMM tool that we use. It was called GFI. Back before that, it was called Hound Dog. We've been using it for like 6 years or so. I had a tech friend who also stopped and looked at it the same time I did. We signed up for demos at the same time. 5 or 6 years later, he's still trying to decide of what platform he wants to use for his MSP stuff because he hasn't launched his MSP. And we've now, got an entire client base on it, been using it, watched a few transitions. Then that's that analysis paralysis some people get. They get so hung up on trying to evaluate every piece of technology, they never really move forward in their business. It's a real challenge, and it's sometimes there's a little bit of just kind of go forward with it. Same thing with hiring people. I've watched people who, probably because of their own paranoia plays into it, they can never trust another person to ever work on anything because no one knows as much as them, so they end up with this being the center of everything at their business and never growing it because they can't delegate anything to anyone else. So same thing. So I don't know. There's a lot of those issues that definitely happen. And if you notice, this is mostly a lot of business talk in Errata because I didn't have anything else planned for the day. So I'm just going to go ahead and respond to questions that come up in the live stream here and see what happens on here. But I get analysis paralysis from time to time too. I'm not immune to it. You just have to work through it. It's something I believe I overcame. Someone says, do you get involved in reselling communication services like voice and data circuits? Any reason why or why not seems lucrative? Lucrative is probably the problem with some of that industry. People seem to come up with massive markups on there, and how much markup should anything be is a determination not by me, not by the customer, but by the free market as a whole. It is a group conversation, so to speak. You throw prices out there, and the competitive marketplace will work those prices down. We do resell them through VoIP MS. We've been moving people over to it. I've been told we're not marking it up enough. I don't know what enough is. I've had people tell me that. Haven't really had a problem. We're making money, and I've decided I think we're making enough money that is fair. So yes, we're doing it. Yes, we're doing it through VoIP MS. You can have to decide what you want to do for markup. That's going to depend on who you're competing against, and that's really what that comes down to. So yes, we are involved in that market. We're not lucratively involved in that market. We're not charging 10,000% markup like some of the previous people had done. But hey, that's life. It's funny because TVs were a lucrative markup business for a long time, and then one day Walmart got into TVs. That was 2008. Now TVs are really inexpensive, and that price drop all started with Walmart's entered the game, and they started making things more generic and created competitiveness. Now no one thinks about the price of a TV. You go back, TVs were a few $1,000 purchase for a large TV, and that goes back to older times and money. So adjusted for inflation, TVs were a larger capital expenditure. They were not something that was relatively inexpensive to have essentially a big screen TV. Now you think, I'm looking at the camera, but right behind it is a, I don't know if that's like a 60-inch TV that we picked up for really cheap, so it can display what's on the camera. Yeah. So anyways, let's see. Aside from Synology Surveillance Station and File Station, what other packages do you use commonly on Synology? I have a video that breaks down everything that we use on Synology, but most of the time it's just the active backup and the surveillance station and file server. But I have a video on that. Do you have a tutorial on how to build the server behind you? If you look up some of my lab videos, yes, but you're in luck because if you wait another week, you'll get the new version of it. Most of it's the same, but I'm going to cover it in one consolidated video because I break down in the video all the different pieces, and instead what I'm going to do in the video is have all of it in one video because that seems to make people happier if everything's in one video with time indexes. YouTube has made it easier to do time indexes, so I'm doing more time indexes. If you hadn't noticed on some of my videos, they have all the time slots broke down on there. So I will be breaking it down, but I do have a video on everything in here. I'm just going to make a super video because that video links to the other videos. I'm going to make the super video with everything currently in there, which is always changing. That's actually pretty dynamic. That's not my main server case. That's just what we have here in the studio. Not screwing your customers is a good plan. Yeah, seems to be. But that's the fuzzy part. You can say those as words. That's subjective. Don't screw your customers. Objective. How much is screwing your customers? What is the number? And that number is not as easy to come to as you might think. I've had people tell me, matter of fact, someone filled out our contact form just to tell me I was too expensive because my rate is $300 an hour for consulting. And someone says, I just filled this contact form out to say you're super expensive. Thank you. I mean, to that person, I'm screwing people, charging them $300 an hour. To people who consult us for services every day, we have tons of bookings. They don't think we're doing it. So back to, that's not an easy determination. I understand the complete statement you made, but it's not an easy this or that. It kind of depends on the market you're in, what you're selling, and et cetera, et cetera. Let's see. I'm laughing at some of the other things. This vlog is Thursday. It was started by Marvin, and the following, we picked Thursday for a very special reason. We did one last Thursday. Yes, pretty much. As an economist, I can say what you talk about is what it should be a lot of times. Yeah, thank you. Reading down through the comments. Being in Michigan around manufacturing, do you deal with EDI software? I've lost my hairs over it. Thoughts? Yeah, I've been doing EDI since I worked in corporate. That was one of my projects, was doing EDI translation systems and interfacing systems for EDI. I was the head of IT, so those were projects I completed. I have also dealt with EDI in our current state with some of our customers that are also in transportation levels for suppliers, so yes. I don't do much myself with EDI, but I'm aware of it, and I have connected my clients with, for example, someone who did some custom programming related to EDI. They wrote some interfaces for them to kind of interface a vendor's EDI with their vendor EDI system and be able to get all the stuff to talk to each other. So yeah, it's frustrating. I don't know. EDI is EDI. It's not going away. I don't think anytime soon. It's not my field of expertise. It still exists in the automotive market and outside the automotive markets as well. How many access points can be in a group in a new Ubiquity interface? I don't know I never use the groups, but I don't know if there's a limit to how many can be in each group either. So that's not something I know. Riley Chase might know that with HostiFi. Someone says, love the videos on the channel, extra information. You present sanely. I do like sanity. How is the latest update from Unify? I don't know. I'm going to leave it out there. I don't know. I'm not trusting it, not till maybe it's 6.1. Me and Riley talk back and forth on it. So I'm not sure yet. Have you seen event IPS type alert? Nope. I don't know what that is. Have I checked lag settings on Ubiquity Edge Max? Nope, have not. Let's see. Hey, true story. I just looked at the first vlog Thursday. I'm assuming that's referring to the comment of, we did one Thursday, now we're doing it this Thursday. That's, I think, how that probably worked, if you look at vlog Thursday once. Electronic data interchange is what EDI stands for those of you that, if you're asking about like the conversation. So the EDI systems are the ways that they came up with in the 70s. The automotive companies at one time were ahead on technology in some ways, and they had automated systems by which they could exchange data so you could get information from one manufacturing plant to the next manufacturing plant. Or in the case that I worked in specifically, EDI sent us all the load information for what freight we were going to haul. So do an EDI 101 video? Oh God, no, I'm not expert enough in it. You know, I don't like it. I don't know who would watch an EDI video or why they would. It's just so complex, and anytime I've dealt with those, they're just, I don't know, they're not fun. I do them because I'm paid to do them, not because I have any desire to do them. So, and I don't know that there's any training you can do on it because everyone's different, and following EDI standards, figuring out what their delimiter is, because this is something, it's harder because there's not like an absolute standard for the way they would do the data interchange. Therefore, that's why we always have to write different interpreters, and that's why EDI is complex. It's not like it's 100% standards based for the way they transfer data. Can you assign multiple cards to one user in UniFi access? No. I might do a follow-up video on that because people had some questions, but my overall feeling on it, someone says, why would you suggest this thing when no one would realistically deploy it, blah, blah, blah. And yeah. Anyways, I would say there's not demand for those videos, so we'll just drop that. I think that's what I was talking on. Sorry, I got distracted. That was something business related that I won't. Anyways, yes, EDI is a terrible format. Kent, you are right. Let's see. Does UniFi Access allow? Oh, UniFi Access, yes. VoIP calling door release code from the desk phone. I don't know. I don't have a UniFi phone. Back to the UniFi Access. That's what I was talking about, not the EDI. I turn my phone off now. The UniFi access system, multiple cards, no. Follow-up video on it, maybe. I don't have a UniFi phone, so I don't know about the integration. There's probably a few things that people ask questions about I miss, but it's still a pretty basic system. I don't know if it's really a good deal. I don't really have plans to spend that much time on it until they release it for like the UniFi NVR. I wouldn't even consider installing it at my office as a demo system unless they installed it on the UniFi NVR. So if UniFi is listening and they want to do that, cool. Right now, it's only on the UDM Pro. I have a UDM Pro for demo reasons. That's it. That is not, we don't ever sell anyone UDM Pros. Just not on our list. So I don't know. I'm not sure how much it's fun because it's an interesting product. I like the way they did it, but I'm also not into door access systems that much. It's not my field of expertise. Does UniFi Access allow VoIP calling and da-da-da? I don't know. Greetings from Kenya. Is there any other customizable ERP system in the market apart from common SAP and Microsoft Dynamics? Matter of fact, there is, and I can't remember the name of it. So please, crowd, help me on this one. Is it Udu? Udu open source. Oh, good, I found it. Unless someone can think of another one, this is the only giant open source ERP platform I can think of is going to be Udu. It's extensive. It's not simple. It's got a learning curve, but of course, it's an ERP program. So with that complexity that it has, you're going to see that. But yeah, this is something that I have nothing to do with. Like, I don't know anything about it other than people have asked me to review it. And reviewing a massive ERP program that's open source, yeah, that's not... I would have to take the time to learn this to do it. I'm not going to, I can tell you that. This is not like maybe later. This is more like I'm not going to review. So I've really, yeah. Well, let's throw that out there. I threw a link in there for the person who asked about it. I've heard people really like it. I actually had someone call and they know how to use and support it. They contacted me and we had a conversation because they just want us to build servers, to which that part, yes, I can build an open source server to host it on. I can't support the software because the software is very complex and it's not something that I know. So yeah, we don't use that type of program. It's way more extensive than we need. We're using the SolarWinds platform to manage our RMM stuff with our clients, and we use Invoice Ninja for our general invoicing. And then I use a third program called KMyMoney to manage all the money. That's it. It's simple. So I don't need any programs that complex. I seen UI has added virtual IP and NAT for addressing a beta controller. Seems to only be for the new beta gateway. I don't know. Someone else commented on that. I feel like their software that's in release right now in the 6 series feels beta. So whether or not those features even make it to production, I don't know. I have been... I've already done a video on this. I'm not really that thrilled with any of the UniFi routing equipment. I feel like it falls short. It is like the number one reason people fill out, well, I don't know about the number one reason, but it's frequently a reason people fill out the contact form, and sometimes they are upset because they think I told them to buy a UDM Pro and are upset because it doesn't do all the things that pfSense does. I said it doesn't do that. I did videos saying it doesn't do that. And people just, I want the single pane of glass, but I want all those features that you did in that pfSense video. And I'm like, yeah, then you'll have to get a pfSense, not a UniFi. So I don't know. Have I ever tried flashing OpenWRT on UniFi AP? I have not. I've heard people tell me it works. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it works or not. I have no idea. Let's see. Yeah, I would never want to quote, I would never want a quote or a UDM Pro. Yeah, UDM Pro is just, people complain about it, and I don't know. I know a few people that have them that are happy. They literally just use it to have internet in their house. That's it. It goes cable modem, UDM Pro, we're online. That's it. They're not using a single feature other than that. It just looks pretty in their rack. Awesome. They have 2 cameras on their house. Works great for that too. That's it. So UniFi being more for home users, I don't know. That's like the fine line of when anything is, for a home user or not. What does that mean? And I say that because I've heard people tell me pfSense is for home users. I've also pointed out in a previous video that pfSense is in use at MasterCard, Visa or MasterCard. One of the big credit card companies uses that in their data centers. I have worked on pfSense in large data centers. So is it a home user thing? Because it's free. UniFi, definitely the last couple product lines seem to cater towards home users. But then again, a door access system is not really a home user thing, but it's also something that I can't, I said why I can't recommend it. And for you to come out with a firewall and them claiming it's pro, but then looking at all the lack of features it has going, I don't know. So UniFi is a weird company, and trying to pigeonhole them to home user or business use is not easy. If you were to say like Juniper is only targeted towards business users, yeah, or any company that sells channel partner only, yeah, they're going to be companies that you can definitely say they're channel partner only. You have a minimum buy, minimum number of seats, minimum spend, whatever their ways they have for filtering out the home users. You can say those are definitely only targeted at businesses or through a reseller program. But UniFi is weird because they have a firewall that has, well, not a firewall, but they have like their switching equipment with the multi-tenant system where we can host all of our clients in the control plane in our cloud system while also maintaining thousands of access points. And that's a pretty enterprise feature. But yeah, it does work great for your house too, and you can buy it on Amazon. So they're kind of just mass market selling because the lines are blurred. It isn't black or white where this is something you can use in a home and this is something you can only use in business. So once again, you're getting back to that fuzziness of it all. And who am I to say you don't have a door access at home? I am not trying to say that. That's probably true. It seems unlikely that people would have a door access at home, but hey, if it's your house and you want to stick a door access system on there, dude, UniFi's got one. That requires a UDM Pro for some reason. What kind of system do I use to switch camera and OBS? Yes, this is a Stream Deck, and I have a video all about my studio. So if you look for like my studio setup video, it'll be a 2019 video. I don't think I've done one in 2020, but I also haven't changed my studio. Now I will be changing my studio, and one of our major changes to the studio, I like to do updated videos. But there hasn't been any changes lately, so this is it. This is, I look up because there's a bunch of rigging and things like that around me, so that's how the studio is managed. And I have a video of how we built the rigging, because as a matter of fact, we didn't buy off the shelf. This is stuff, we went to Home Depot and put pipes up, and I have a whole parts list for how we built the studio. Let's see. Unify is a little something for everyone. That's a great way to put it. They have features that make everybody happy. Let's see, what else we have? Looking for a robust firewall that isn't what you want. You can get a firewall equipment to augment your Unify network. Yeah, that's what we put on there. Am I still on Pop! OS? Absolutely. So Pop! OS is still, make sure I'm not, if I do that, I'll share too much information. So before we switch. But yes, I'm on Pop! OS. It still works great. It's just been super happy. Works wonderful. I did do something stupid the other day. I don't know if it was Pop! OS's fault or Tom not paying attention, but we'll probably go with Tom not paying attention. When I was running updates, it uninstalled my NVIDIA driver on my desktop. All I had to do is reinstall it. It wasn't too big of a deal, but it also led to some confusion because I'm like, I said yes to a lot of things and I was doing the command line update. And I think one of those things was you'd like to auto remove NVIDIA, but I didn't realize it didn't finish upgrading the other NVIDIA driver. So a quick reinstall of the NVIDIA driver solved that. But yeah, I'm still running Pop! OS. A few people ask me to do Linux videos. I'm always kind of like, oh, I can. Changing people's mind on Linux and getting them off Windows. There's plenty of people doing videos about that, and I'm not been a Windows user in 10 years. Making it that much more challenging for me to change your mind on it. And the hardest thing about getting people to use Linux isn't the actual functional use of Linux, it's getting them to use Linux. Once they loaded it and they go, oh, look, I open up the browser and everything's there like it was in Windows, they usually stop caring what operating system they have. It starts mattering a lot less, people realize, because it just doesn't. So, have I ever integrated switches with 802.1x.1x? I think Steve did a couple of clients for setting that up on the UniFi ones. I'm trying to remember. It's sometimes I forget. We do a lot of different things. We're not using them like that here at the office. So if that was, if that helps. Yeah. If you have line of business applications that use Windows, this is one of the reasons that I don't push. People ask you why, if you're a big Linux fan, why don't you push it to your clients? I'm like, because it won't work. I live in the real world. I use Linux, but I do live in the real world where I have to support people running Windows, where the business applications that they use do not work in Linux. Therefore, I'm not going to try to retrofit something that's not going to be easy to support, easy to handle. And remote desktop in Linux, I never use it myself, but enough people ask me that I did a video on X2Go. I can't say never. I rarely use remote desktop in Linux. I've always found X2Go to be a really solid product. I just don't feel the need to remote into my Linux. I have my Linux laptop. I have my Linux desktop. This is for all the work I do when I'm not at my desktop, like when I'm at home, and then my desktop is for when I'm working here. So I'm not sure when I would be remoting into a Linux system with a graphical UI. It's just not something that comes up. But X2Go is actually a really slick system for when you do. I take that back a little bit for like Kali Linux. On a Raspberry Pi, I love X2Go on that because it gets me a graphical interface inside of a network wherever I have a Kali Linux Raspberry Pi installed. So that's probably, that's... VNC's works okay. X2Go works way better than VNC. But if you like VNC and it works for you, use it. But X2Go is way more features and much better system. Can you make a video on Unify access points roaming? I don't understand that question. By default, out of the box, if you don't goof with the config files, which, by the way, a huge amount of our consulting is people who goof with config files. So usually people who find all the buttons in Unify and start just flipping switches, we just go in and reset things to default and fix more problems than anything else. But if you turn on, and I throw 5 access points, they automatically roam. Out of the box, the default settings roam between devices. That's it. Every time someone says they have a problem roaming, we just go, what did you change? It's kind of like the first question we have to ask. What setting did you go in and start monkeying with to cause this issue? So by default, they roam. That's as simple as it is. So there's not really any valuable tips or documents that you need. You'll find a lot of opinions in forums of, hey, I messed with all the details in this Unify and suddenly nothing roams. By the way, roaming is also a big function of the device you're using, very heavy-handedly, because the device has to make decisions on which access point it's going to jump to and when. You can't easily tell the access point to push off devices. The devices do the selection because they can see both of them. So, yeah. Not to derail the conversation, fair enough. 2 questions. Do you have experience with Milestone X project? Nope. No, never used it. So I don't know what it is. Milestone X, I said project. It's Milestone X Protect. X Protect. Nope, never used it. So, Unify Gear has some sort of offloading tech. Maybe. Do you or MSP in general typically fill in admin work? As a sole admin, it would be nice to take a vacation and throw my phone into a lake. Yes, we have 2 ways we do the MSP. We're slowly building up, and it's going to be more news on this coming soon, where we handle some functionality for internal admins. But the challenge is we are not wanting to be a help desk for when there's an individual admin. We're willing to be like the emergency situation handlers and also infrastructure monitoring and antivirus and licensing, etc. A lot of the high level function stuff, I don't want to help someone in accounting fix their printer for every person that wants a day off. That is a much bigger challenge, and if I can build a business with less help desk support, I'm happier. To build in help desk support, that's the part of the business that no one likes, and I'm trying to avoid it. So we try to stay at the higher levels all the time. I don't know if that plan's going to work, but that's where the plan is right now, October 8th, 2020. That way you can call me out, and there's never truth without context. The context is the date. So if you see Tom with some massive help desk company that he started 2 years from now, you can say, hey, didn't you say? Yes, on October 8th, 2020, I said I wouldn't. And there'll be a time where I made some change in my mind because new information became available, and that's okay. Because there are things I do today that I probably would have said in some point in time, provided I had documented them video, that I would not do, and I do them now. as information becomes available and changed, that's how science works. We take all the facts, we evaluate them, we add the context of what we know right now, and then we go, all right, this is our decision now. If new information becomes available, we move to the new decision based on the new and updated information that we have available to us. I know it sounds so boring and logical. Hopefully that makes sense. What are your percentage of a smart home user to business user? For what? For the consulting? For who calls us? We have home users that call us. We have a lot of businesses that call us. I've never broken them down as percentage because I don't try to check boxes of who's calling us. I will admit our rates tend to be more business people because of our rates being higher. I think home users don't always want to spend that much, but it's also fuzzy. When you say home user, we had a person emailing from their business address. We helped them at their home. I also know this person is a very prominent position at a very large company. So when we're setting up their home network, it is a work from home situation for them. So am I helping them for their home or am I helping them for their business? What checkbox would I put if I were to put checkboxes on that? Which is also why I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. To me, that person's a customer. They needed a technical problem solved. We solved their technical problem. I look at it from that aspect. And obviously we have seat minimums for our MSP. So if you don't have whatever our seat minimum is, I'm not going to say it because anyways, I'm not going to get into the details. But let's say if you don't have at least 10 computers, I think that's where it is. It might be higher. It's all in writing somewhere else. Don't call me out on this yet. We won't sign you up. That's how we avoid some of the home users because, no, I don't want to put my MSP software on a single home user's computer. It's just not going to be worth it for us. Consulting, yes. Hi from Australia. We get ripped off from an IT here. What is the threshold for mail order set up and send, buying a full stack in the next 3 weeks? We don't like doing mail order stuff. It's just too, especially international, there's way too much labor involved in it. And sending things internationally has a bunch of forms and paperwork that I don't feel like paying. You probably shouldn't pay me to do it. Just order the stuff that you want. It's better, and then have us remotely configure it. That's generally how we work with most of the deals. Any tips for handling non-business execs who think the cloud is a silver bullet? No, that's just getting good at sales. If you're an IT person and you have to sell to a management team, that's a sales thing. Even though you're not selling to a customer, you're selling to management team. That's just part of stuff you need to learn. I don't know, take classes on sales. Oddly, it's something that probably helps a lot of IT people is getting good people skills. Those soft skills in turn can make your job easier, which I have a funny story I'll add here in a second. I also hate help desk. We all do. Yeah, help desk is rough. Is low-level help desk. Solving interesting network engineering problems, that's kind of fun. Linux remote desktop systems. LXD containers, Guacamole, Nginx, Tomcat. Sure, use all the ones that make you happy. I don't understand that as the question. I like X2Go. I don't use all those other ones you mentioned. I'm aware of their existence. So I find the stream very real. Is it recurring? Can anyone tell me? First time here. It seems to recur roughly 4 p.m. I try to be around 4 p.m. deciding on what's going on, and I do it every Thursday. I can guarantee it's on Thursdays. I can mostly guarantee around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because that's the time zone I'm in. What do I think about version 6? I'm going to wait till version 6.1. That's what I think. Most companies have faxed email. Yes, a lot of companies do. Fun story, though, and I thought this was kind of funny. Yeah. Oh, cloud fax. That's what I was... someone's asked about that. I see the question now about the faxing. Cloud faxing, yes. I would suggest that as well. There's companies... VoIP MS has a fax program. Take a look at theirs. We've used it for a few of the clients. So something amusing that I'll share with you is one of my friends sets up email testing at their company and just had a great Tales from Tech Support story that made me laugh. So anytime someone clicks on the phishing email, they have to do training. And this person was on their 5th email they clicked on, which of course equated to their 5th training. And they're like, this person clearly doesn't get it. It turned out that was the opposite. They had the best answer ever. The person thought training was more fun than actually doing their job. So they purposely clicked on every phishing email and they said, oh, I understand which ones are phishing. I get excited because now I can do training, and training is much more fun than doing my job. And they're like, I think we got social engineer, but we're not really sure here, guys. And I was like, that's funny. He's like, yeah. He goes, only one person. They had to like decide what they're going to do with this, because clicking on phishing emails because you like training more than working is not an expected answer. Yeah, they're like, wait, this was not a predicted scenario here. Now, my other friend had an interesting response to it, because he worked for, when he worked for Barracuda, he told me that Barracuda's policy was you clicked on a few phishing emails, and he worked specifically in the spam division of Barracuda, and they tested their own employees. And if they figured that their own employees clicked it, they said your job was on the line. Clicking it didn't mean training. It meant you didn't work here. So I was like, that's great. Yeah, reverse social engineering. It's kind of an... Yeah, he social engineered his way out of working by clicking phishing links. I did not see that twist coming. So there's at least some fun of doing levels of tech support. At least there's some good stories. Tales from tech support can be definitely amusing. When you put the Unify APs in for a client, what do you use for controller? Cloud Key, Dream Machine, software controller. Software controller most of the time, unless there's a request otherwise. If they're going to do it, Cloud Key. If they have their own server stack, we load software. When companies don't have their own server stack, Gen 2 Cloud Keys we have used if we're not the ones hosting it. So it's kind of, there's not like a cookie cutter answer, whichever works. I will say Dream Machine not on list. The only person using a Dream Machine, the one person that I have put a Dream Machine in, my daughter still has hers. That's my long-term review of the Dream Machine, not the Pro, but just the Dream Machine itself, is because my daughter still uses it. It's how she has Wi-Fi at her apartment. Still works. She's happy. Trust me. She'd be like, Dad, the Wi-Fi is not working. My daughter works in medical. She is not technical is not her forte. Therefore, she would just simply call Dad if it doesn't work. Yeah, people forwarding phishing emails to you to ask if that's another fun problem. What is the difference between AirFiber and AirMax? Where do I start? I don't know off the top of my head. They have so many new products. Look at the latest released ones and go from there. When it comes to trying to figure out which point-to-point to use. I see that question come up a lot. Which point-to-point do I use? Honestly, we do a lot of them. Post in my forums might be a better place, because you'll get a better response. By the way, when I do respond in the forums, which I respond to most everyone, one thing about it, I do ask my staff questions a lot. Even though it's me responding, I research, and this is one of the reasons I like forums over Discord, is I research the answers frequently to give you a better idea, or I ask or look through my own history of projects we've done and go, oh, we did it with this because of that, and then I answer the question. So my forums is probably a better way for that. Yeah, having a good line of sight is probably the better first question before you say which one should I buy. If you buy UniFi based on price for networking, what do you think's better than UniFi? I don't know. I guess that question needs more context. What is a good MSP for a small business that's just started and has less than 100 endpoints to manage? Are you asking for me? I'm the good MSP. How's that? I mean, are you asking for me to be MSP, or asking about software? I don't understand the question. Both? All right. I'm lost here. What software is good? We like SolarWinds. I think 100 seats is their minimum, so SolarWinds would work. Do you know when the next release of TrueDance? I don't have that information committed to memory, but TrueDance has been very forthcoming with that information of when the next release is out. They happen to have it on their I think it's pinned to one of their top comments on the TrueNAS development. If you Google it, they have a blog post that has all the release targeted release dates on there. So I don't remember what it is. I've covered it in like 1 or 2, maybe even 3 of my TrueNAS videos, but I don't remember it. They have like the whole schedule of all the months and dates for each of the steps, like release candidate 1, release candidate 2, full production, etc. Yeah, SolarWinds is not cheap. That's life. We give them lots and lots of money every month. I pay the bill. No, I don't use Take Control in Linux. I don't know any way to make it work. I've talked to their product team. Matter of fact, I know a lot of people. They know me at SolarWinds, being a user who's also involved. I'm on the SolarWinds advisory committee, so I have a insider information, so to speak, which, full disclosure, guys, I'm on the SolarWinds Insider Committee. I get 0 discounts for being on said committee. All I get is some input, which I'm fine with. I'd like some discounts, honestly, because I've talked about their product. I'm like, and it's been a joke because so many of the salespeople know me because people say, hey, I watched this Tom guy. He did a video on SolarWinds. I get nothing for that. I'm like, I need to be on your paid commission or something. That wouldn't be bad if this kick me back a couple bucks or give me a discount on my services. But honestly, I pay full price. I pay the same price you will pay if you sign up for SolarWinds. That's just the honest truth of it. What router is your opinion for home use when pfSense is overkill? I don't know. I mean, if you just need routing functions, go buy some off-the-shelf crap. Matter of fact, use the cable modem provider stuff. If you have cable, the ISP provider equipment. If you're not going to buy anything higher end or use any of the high-end features of something like a pfSense or an Untangle, then just go backwards and use the cable modem provider stuff, because to me, it's like lateral movement. What Comcast, for example, provides is not substantially different than what you can, some generic cheap Netgear. Matter of fact, it's more likely to get updated statistically that they'll update the cable modem that provides some type of routing function than they will update the Netgear device. So, yeah. Yeah, the ERX with an AP is pretty cheap. They work. Don't go for DWRT. I don't know. I haven't used it in so long. People have asked me about it. It's been forever since I've looked at it. It's been years. I'm a big fan for home users, and I'm getting ready to do this video, which is why this box is right here, to cover one of the Untangle boxes with the home user license, which, by the way, the home user license is $50 a year, but that is because you get the filtering. If you don't pay the fee, what happens? Well, I'll cover that too in that video, and basically it's going to be, if you don't pay the fee, you lose your web filtering, but it keeps on routing. And if that's what you care about, something that does the routing, awesome. You have a box that will continue to route. Even if you don't pay the fee, you simply lose those features, which is, to me, the best way to sell it. So Untangle has a fee for the features that are extra, but will continue, so that your internet will continue working if you don't pay the fee. And the fee covers those things such as the threat intel feeds that come in, and it covers the web filtering stuff that comes with Untangle. So, yes. What else do we have here? Have I looked into the Datto remote management software? I have not. I can't remember the name of the company Datto purchased. I don't know much about it. I know people who use Datto who are happy. So apparently someone likes them. They apparently also are now publicly traded, I believe. So they are announcing an IPO and stock price. So I shouldn't say someone. A lot of someones like them. So Datto's, they're a big player. They're a big competitor for SolarWinds. If that's the platform you settle on, great. We're kind of buried in the SolarWinds platform, but Datto, I don't think makes a bad product. The people I know and the MSPs I know using it seem very happy and intelligent. So I would say it's probably a good product. I also know MSPs using the ConnectWise stack, and they seem happy and good at what they do as well. So I think any of those players are serious in the market. So SolarWinds, Datto, and ConnectWise, I all look at them as similar levels. I watch people take digs at each one of them, and all of them are always going to have their shortcomings. But the other ones that are in the market that are like substantially less expensive, they seem to be the ones that everyone starts on and then says, all right, I'm done with it. I've hit all the limitations with this product, and insert name of whatever the latest flavor of the month is. Spend time in Reddit/r/MSP, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. You'll watch people, you'll know which ones I'm talking about. Everyone's like, all right, I'm finally ready to go to ConnectWise, Datto, or SolarWinds. That's kind of like where people end up. And if you can afford to start there, it may be better because the transition has a cost. Migrating all your stuff when you're embedded in a platform and spent time learning it has a cost associated with it. So I'm kind of happy we've stayed with SolarWinds, but people ask me to switch. I don't have the time and money and effort that I want to invest in switching, only to find out it didn't solve problems in any better way than their current platform did. Yeah, I see people saying they like Datto. So I haven't used it, but like I said, I know other IT people that I've had conversations with, like business owners, that speak highly of it and seem to be happy with it. They weren't trying to sell me on it. They just said, hey, we're not looking to switch because we're happy with our RMM platform. None of them are perfect. That is very true. That is hugely true. I've not used Spiceworks, so I just don't know. Spiceworks is not something I'm aware of its existence, as I like to tell people, but I haven't used it, so I don't have any answers on that. So I shouldn't waste my time starting with a free cheap service. That's usually I tell people is avoid the free cheap services. They just seem to cause more drama and headache, and you end up spending too much time on them, and it probably slows your overall growth as a business because you spent time, trying to make this thing work, and you didn't spend as much time trying to grow the business. I did some of that stuff myself. I got caught up into wanting this to work or wanting that to work, and I remember times going back to I found one of the old servers documentation. It was old stuff I had, probably from 2012, trying to get something to work with VNC, and it just, man, I remember spending a lot of hours on that, and then I ended up just getting a product that worked properly. Ticketing system right now we're using is, it's all under evaluation still because we mostly just use email with G Suite, but we're looking at fully integrating into the MSP manager for SolarWinds. More news on that if we ever make the decision. We're kind of side by side using it and finishing some of the tie-in. You get what you pay for. Yeah. VNC. Yeah, VNC, there's actually someone who wrote, and I contacted a developer. This goes back 6 or 7 years ago. The project's long abandoned. I can't remember the name exactly of it. And we were hosting it internally anyways. It was a way that you could use VNC as a remote system with an auto deployment and a relay in the cloud, so it would relay to any place for remote connections. It was really clever product that someone was working on, and it all fell apart. And someone will probably bring this up, and once again, I will say the same thing. I'm aware of the existence of Mesh Central, which is an open source remote management platform, but hold on here, has not been vetted or code audited. I don't know how secure it is. It's open source, so someone could do this and someone could vet it. They have, forums and stuff, but I don't know that I would trust it for clients. Would it save you money? Sure. Would it potentially cost you everything because there's some flaw in it that if someone finds an exploit for? That could happen too. I don't know that there is, but I also don't know that there isn't. Do I have to send devices back after reviewing them? That varies from company to company. Not always, but sometimes. Do you ever get time to do IT-related tinkering outside of work? If so, any fun, cool projects you have or worked on? Most of my tinkering is what you see on this channel. Some's work related. I guess there's projects I may have played with that didn't make it to a video. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm always tinkering with stuff. I can't divide when I'm working and not. I don't believe in work-life balance because I have a passion for what I do, so I just do it. The only non-tech related stuff is, of course, just riding my motorcycle and stuff. Have you built a cyber deck? Nope. Where do I see my company in 10 years? Bigger? Shifting with whatever I've done. So 17 years in business means I've shifted my company quite a few times, and I have a history of some of the things I've done as a company. You know what I left out of there, and I don't know if this is a separate video, is what did Tom do besides run the business? And I say that because I was a wedding photographer for 6 years. I was a very successful professional wedding photographer for coinciding with when I had my business. So there's other things I've done besides just this business. And that's one of the things is, for me, doing a diversity of things has always been something I've had fun at. I was also never fully licensed because I used to use my friend's dealer's license for selling cars. I was buying and selling cars for a little while as a hobby. So I've had these different things, and on top of that, in between, it's also been shifts in the business. I did one thing here, shifted around, did electronics repair. I talked about that in my video. Then moved over, had a partnership. That didn't work out. Got rid of the partner, had a store, did retail, did a bunch of pickup service, got rid of that. In between, I've actually also was a consulting on doing solar projects, helped do low voltage cabling for solar projects and setting up solar panels and wind machines in between that. So where do I see myself in 10 years? Playing with technology would probably be the most honest answer. Hopefully that's a babble of everything, but that's how I'm always just doing stuff, and I'm passionate about it, so I just keep moving forward with it. Let's see, what else do we have here? All kinds of things. Motorcycle stuff. Yep, I like motorcycles. What else do we have here? Building a cyber quad. Electric vehicles is definitely on my to-do list, so that's definitely on there. But I'm going to wind this down here in 5 minutes, so let's find some final questions for the class here. Let me look, because I had something. What else is in here? Oh, this is going to be funny at least. I'll bring this up. I tweeted this too. I just see this was funny because it's like hearing about the latest Office 362 outage. I definitely had my fun talking about the fact that we're a G Suite user. People told me I shouldn't be. And also to all those people that kept saying, why don't you integrate phone systems for your clients with the Microsoft phone system service? Anyways, I actually am going to throw out there, just to be kind of a smartass, I should have integrated it, because then if everything would have went down, they also couldn't have called me to complain that things were going down. But they would have called from their cell phone, so I don't think it really would have worked. What did I do, though, that I was going to share? I had something in here. Or not. I don't know. I've been taking more motorcycle trips and things like that. I usually throw at the end of this some personal stuff. Oh, yeah. I knew I had a video or something about it. But, yeah, a few people, like I said, people ask me about moto vlogging and stuff, so I've been out riding my motorcycle and goofing off and having fun. That's actually what I'm going to be leaving today at 5 o'clock, so in a few minutes. But someone said post this in your personal channel. I may start doing that. I may post some, because this is not content related in any way to my tech business, but I may post some of my motorcycle riding videos over my personal channel because, why not? People seem to like this stuff and it's kind of fun. And I have fun getting out there playing with the motorcycle. And the colors are changing here in Michigan, so that's definitely something pretty exciting. Oh, and for people, because this came up last time, what kind of motorcycle is it? This is the motorcycle I ride right now, which is a Yamaha Super Tenere XL 1200. So it's a 1200cc dirt bike that's got license plates on it. Any other questions before I wander off here? So you got 3 more minutes. I'll take your questions. Let's see. Do I have any fiber channel SAN experience? Nope, I'm not an expert at fiber channel. Yeah, the weather's nice. We don't have any nice days because once it becomes winter, I don't go outside as much. Dual Sport DRZ 400. I like the DRZ 400. I really like the DRZ 650 a little bit better. I've rode both of them over time, a while back, but yeah. They're good bikes. I like dual sport adventure bikes. So maybe you caught in the news, the UK blame Excel XLS file. Yeah, that's still in some misguided stuff going on there. Do you think self-hosted VoIP services offer any significant advantage over cloud-hosted for under 30 handsets? Yeah, I mean, when you start adding up a cost per handset, they can. You just got to weigh out those costs. How much are you charging per handset? And let's say, I'll use RingCentral because they're the biggest. I know they're not the least expensive, but RingCentral on a prepaid annual is like $35 per handset. So if you take 30 times 35, that's a lot of money. VoIP MS is really, really cheap, and even with 30 people calling, we have a client who has like 40 phones, and they're spending like a couple $100 a month. That's it. That's way, way less than what you'll spend on like RingCentral. So weigh it out, put the numbers in, figure out which one works for you. Are you going to expand outside of Detroit? Technically, we already do. Because most of our clients, we have clients in Detroit, we have clients around the world. Our consulting services and our remote managed MSP stuff that we're doing for people with internal IT teams, they're not in Detroit. We got companies in Jersey, we got companies in California, we got companies in many different states in between, and that doesn't really matter. So I don't look at, in matter of fact, people we hire are probably going to be, some of them are remote that we work now, and more of them will be remote. So I don't really look at ever having another location because it's not physically necessary right now. Once again, it is October 8th, 2020. That's when I said this. If new information becomes available or changes, I will change my mind. What's my personal channel? Let me find it for you real quick. I will drop a link to it this time. So if we go to YouTube, and we type in GT. I have to find it. So my personal channel is, there we go. What I'll do, this is just where my random personal videos go. There you go. That's my personal YouTube channel dropped into chat. So if anyone's looking for it or curious about it, I don't post often there. Maybe one day I'll post more. And like the motorcycle video I did, which you can see my personal channel, I don't do much with. So there's all of like 26 views on this particular video because, yeah, you know, there's not that many people watching this. So. And a lot of times it's testing video, and that's a lot of what this is. Especially if I'm ever curious about a song, I've had problems with YouTube flagging things. It said weren't flagged. So if I upload them to my personal channel, which isn't monetized, it tells me that a video has a music song or something in there. And because I've run into trouble with that, that's also why I test things on my personal channel. So yeah, for those curious about me, not that it was hard to find, it's under my name, Tom Lawrence. So. But thanks for everyone who joined. Thanks for everyone who smashed the like button. But those of you who didn't, this is your opportunity. There's 282 of you on the live stream. Before we wander off, if you could hit that like button and help the YouTube algorithm, that would be wonderful. And as always, reach out to me in the forums. That's where I stay active. I go there pretty much daily. And more videos coming soon. I'm almost done. For those of you that kind of wondering or follow me, yes, I'm almost done with the transition. And soon I will be homeless because it turns out I'm going to be selling and closing on my house prior to the purchase of the other house. So I get this weird time in my life now that I can say I was homeless because I won't have a house. But I get to live in the house that I won't own for a few days while the other house becomes available to me. So that's the other stuff that's been keeping me, all that paperwork related to it's keeping me rather busy lately and preparing for that. That's also why, to me, it's a slowdown in videos, but don't worry, once I get all moved in the new house, I'll do a video on it because people are going to ask, how are you going to put things in your new house? One, there's not much IoT in a new house, not going to be. Two, I'm just going to put a few Wi-Fi access points. I'll still do a video on it, but it's not going to be too exciting. That's about it. All right. Thanks for joining, everyone.